got storms right outside the Beltway right now. The thing is, these things are moving incredibly slow. I mean, you don't see this very often. So here's the current radar, and there's DC. I'm going to move in just a little bit closer to DC just so you can kind of see what's happening. DC, Alexandria, Arlington, except for like parts of Arlington and Alexandria, maybe some sprinkles there. There's really nothing going on over DC proper. But if you head just to the west here, out towards Annandale, Merrifield, over towards Tysons, we've got some downpours there. There may even be a little bit of lightning and small hail. Now, that particular storm cell that I'm showing you right now, it's weakened some. I don't think it's going to make it into DC proper. I think this one's going to stay along the Beltway and move north towards the American Legion Bridge and up towards Great Falls. Let's move into another storm, which is off to the south. You can see there's one that was right over Lakewood Estates that has since fallen apart, but down into Prince William County and just east of Manassas, we continue to see some storms in that area. So we're tracking these storms as they slowly move off to the north here. And again, none of these are severe, but they certainly could be putting down some small hail and wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour. So we'll move into this storm cell. There's one out there in Loudoun County over towards Dulles and into the Sterling area south of Leesburg, and that's moving very slowly to the north. And then now we've seen a few kind of pop up west of Germantown and over into parts of Frederick County. So that's where the current situation is now. If we can get something to come into DC, it's going to have to come in from Fairfax or Charles counties. And at this point, I don't see that happening in the next 30, 45 minutes or so, as these storms are moving slow. I mean, 15 to 20 miles per hour. But they are putting on some heavy rain. There could be some isolated flooding with this. So we'll go with isolated storms through the next couple of hours in DC, and then the storms become a little bit more widespread as we go into the evening hours. And our futurecast kind of shows that 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you see pop-up storms in the area, and then right around 6, 7 o'clock, the thunderstorms really become widespread. And we can get a decent amount of storm activity in and around DC through 7, 8, 9 o'clock this evening. So we'll continue to watch and monitor these storms for you. Again, nothing severe. If they do go severe, we will let you know. The biggest threats right now, lightning, always dangerous, heavy downpours, of course, and possibly some isolated flooding. So be safe out there, and I'll send it back to you guys back in the studio.
All right, thanks, Chester. We're going to get to Megan Rivers now, who has been out since this morning, marching with a group that moved from the National Museum of African American History and Culture all the way now finally to the Lincoln Memorial. Hi, Megan.
Hey, Leslie, how you guys doing in there? We're outside now of the Lincoln Memorial, where we have hundreds of people. What happened was there was 2 separate marches. So the Freedom March was happening, and there was a separate march. As we were leaving the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, the two combined, and basically this crowd tripled. It was a little bit smaller beforehand.
This is, are you tied up? This isn't sounding all that great. Can we dial it again?
They talked about how, it was painful for them to kneel for that long, and they're still living. And then as the march continued, we got here to the Lincoln Memorial. Now, this is a Juneteenth celebration, but it is also a protest. And we're in front of the Lincoln Memorial now. Back in 1863, when he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, he, in fact, freed slaves. But it wasn't until 1865, 2.5 years later, where a lot of southern states were informed that slaves were supposed to be freed years prior, and were in fact free, and it was enforced in that area. So they've talked about that history here today at this rally and protest. They've also talked about the things that they want. They've talked about affordable housing. They've talked about health care, all issues that plague the black community, that they believe plague the black community, and issues that they want justice on. So we're hearing testimonials and speeches now from leaders and organizers of this particular protest and rally, and they're talking about their different experiences, and they're talking about a call for unity. One thing they also mentioned was that we've heard a little bit of thunder in the area, and so we've heard people talk about how the rain may very well be coming this way. We just heard from Chester, and he says that it may not enter into DC proper, but we've seen a little bit of a little bit of thunder, a slight drizzle, but nothing too major. And they said that this crowd will not disperse despite whatever rain that we may see or may get. But again, right now, the main focus is just those testimonials that are happening. We're hearing them from those organizers. This was put on by the Palm Collective. So they're a group that believes that justice and equality is in the palm of our hands. So that's the latest from out here at the Lincoln Memorial. I'm Megan Rivers. I'll send things back to you guys in the studio.
You know, Megan, you've been walking with them all day. We can see a huge, diverse crowd behind you. Are there some stories that stand out to you that you've heard along the journey from the museum to the Lincoln Memorial?
Well, one of the stories that one of the organizers was saying earlier, he was like, you know, I was born a boy and I was raised in a West Indian family, and as I got older, I was labeled a black man. And he's like, you know, my heritage is very diverse. And he was like, but to you, all you see is brown and black skin, and I'm labeled this way, and I face injustices simply just because of the color of my skin, yet you don't understand my lineage, you don't understand my history, and I'm so much more than just a black man, he said. So he's really saying how, you know, he understands why people may say that all lives matter, but he's saying right now his life matters too, and all lives cannot matter until his life matters. So that was one of the testimonies that stuck out to me. Also, we saw a number of, you know, signs and shirts, and so we saw one older gentleman, he had on a shirt that said, "Make racism wrong again." And that just kind of really stuck out to me, because it's like, yes, when in fact, why has it become that racism is okay? So there's a number of moments here that have stuck out in particular, but those were two that really kind of stuck out to me, Leslie.
Yeah, as we saw the crowd kneeling behind you there for a minute, Megan. If you can, I had thought of this when I saw that shot of the Lincoln Memorial you had there. What's security like in the area? Because it seems like they had that blocked off again as well, like they did a couple of days ago.
So it is kind of blocked off, Lorenzo. It's not blocked off to the public. I guess they didn't really want the protesters or the marchers to come up this way. But people who are, I guess, tourists in the area, because there was a crowd here before we got here, they have still been able to go up to the Lincoln Memorial. So it's not closed, and it's not even a real heavy security presence at all in the area. But there is, in fact, some security here, but it's not completely blocked off.
All right, our Megan Rivers there at the Lincoln Memorial. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Gotcha. Channel 7 is out here, but I don't see them doing any interviews.
of friends, of children. We even have some street performers down here if you want to take a look. The mood here has been fairly festive throughout the day. There have been a few organized rallies, folks on megaphones really trying to use this opportunity to educate people about Juneteenth, about our history, and about strategic ways to move forward, to take this movement, like someone said, beyond the hashtag, beyond the Black Lives Matter t-shirt. What can we do in the voting booth? What can we do with our legislators that would spark some real change? And someone I want to talk to here who has been creating change of her own, because you have been part of actually training a lot of the activists that we've been seeing around town. Tell me your name and what work have you been doing?
So my name is Rhea Thompson Washington, and I am a member of the National Lawyers Guild here in DC. And as part of the National Lawyers Guild Mass Defense Committee, we've been training legal observers, organizing jail support with Law for Black Lives DC, as well as providing Know Your Rights trainings for people coming out into the street. So for example, not 2 days ago, I did a training for over 400 people who wanted to know their rights before they come out in the street and know how to exercise their First Amendment safely in a way to avoid arrest when possible, but also to be able to express their dissent and their issues. So in addition to that, I'm also training legal observers to observe the actions of the police at protests and making sure that they are acting in according with protecting people's lives and not harming it.
And you haven't been out here on the streets since the very beginning. What are your impressions now? And what's your advice for those that you have been training in regards to making this more than just an event, a protest, a rally, but try to get strategic change to make things happen?
So I think that we're obviously at a tipping point, right? And so I think that what we're seeing is people deciding that they're no longer going to accept status quo. And there's a consistent plan to stay in the streets, to continue to raise awareness and not just let this be a Juneteenth thing or an uprising for a few weeks, but to continue the sustained pressure, because as we see, we're sitting in the middle of like Black Lives Matter Plaza, where defund the police is written on the street, and that set off a bunch of other actions around the United States. So what that means is that it's not just here in DC, it's happening nationwide, it's happening worldwide. This is the moment, this is the movement, and we're ready to keep moving and making things happen. So I don't anticipate or see some things slowing down at all. And
you've been at the forefront of training a lot of the folks out here. So right. do you in some way feel that you're a part of history in the making?
So I'm an organizer. We don't do it to be in front of cameras, right?
So this is weird for you. I understand.
Weird because I'm normally just oh, I know this is happening, but it's not something that I just generally go around telling people, right? And so I'm happy to see so many people out here. I'm happy to know that we have over 50 legal observers at at least 6 or 7 different protest actions throughout the day. We're doing the work, and we've prepared jail support to be up and running all night long, for all 3 days and all of the days of the uprising. So we're just going to keep being out here and keeping things going.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your hard work. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. The work is still going on. There is much more work to do, and as you can see, the members of Omega Psi Phi, they've been here registering people to vote. They have kind of taken this corner to let folks know that their power is in the voting booth as well. So really some great conversations that are being had here, a history lesson of sorts to let folks know the root of Juneteenth. And I would be remiss if I did not mention the great historian and curator of the African American Civil War Museum, the late Harry, who he was so wonderful and really breaking down the history of Juneteenth and really talking about the fact that many of us haven't quite been schooled in the fact that the Emancipation Proclamation gave way for an influx of black soldiers to help the Union win the war. And so we were granted our freedom, but when we fought for it, when the black soldiers were fighting alongside the other soldiers in the Union Army and toppled over the rebel states. And of course, that's why we know in 1865, June 19th, they finally made it to Texas to topple over that rebel state and notify that the slaves there were free. And so certainly it is a history that we should be proud of, to know that it took 180 additional black soldiers to win the war, to fight for our freedom. And so we have folks here on the front lines again, fighting for their freedom still. And so like you heard from Rhea just a moment ago, that there is still much more work to be done. This is not only Juneteenth, this is not only a day of remembrance and to commemorate our freedoms, but to continue to fight and to work and aspire for much more to do. So that's one final look here at Black Lives Matter Plaza. You can see the police in the far distance that are keeping a perimeter, but have not been here as the peaceful demonstrations continue. Zoe and Leslie, we're going to send it back to you.
Dee, I'm so glad you brought that up about the Emancipation Proclamation and this authorization of black men to fight in the war, because that service was obviously crucial to the North's war effort, and it also sort of paved the way as proof that rights should have citizenship, full citizenship in this country, that if they fight for this country, that if they die for this country, they should have full rights of citizenship for this country. And as you said, and so as we know, and we've been talking about, that foreshadowed a fight that lingers and continues today.
Yeah, and even with that fight, Les, you know, some people still weren't convinced. So it's obviously a battle that a lot of people are still fighting today. All right, Ardelia Gonzalez there at Black Lives Matter Plaza there. And I noticed too, Les, it's kind of a street festival that Delia mentioned, but also more of a resource center now as well for a lot of people.
You know, we heard Delia say that as she was talking to one of the lawyers from the Guild, that these protests are not going to end, that this action is going to continue, which suggests that this push for policies that change the way that we operate in terms of no more business as usual, that message is going to continue to be out there for some time. So,
all right, we want to get to our Michael Quander now. He was marching with a group from the African American Civil War Museum a little earlier, and now he's outside of the Shaw Metro Center. Mike, what's the mood there?
Yeah, you guys, so actually I am up here in the Shaw neighborhood. We are leaving from the Howard Theater, now marching in over to 7th and Florida Avenue. This is where two go-go bands, EU and Backyard Band, are going to be performing here. They're going to be marching from right over here, right in front of this Metro PCS store where we know the Don't Mute DC movement started not too long ago. And then now they're going to be moving down to Black Lives Matter Plaza. This may seem like a party in the middle of the street, you guys, but it is so much more than that. Using DC culture as a form of protest. All on these trucks, both where you're seeing EU right now and behind us where Backyard is, they have signs that go ahead and speak to the movement. People have taken over Florida Avenue. Cars are not able to get by here right now. People are dancing in the street. There's a sense of joy that is coming from this moment too, and pride in DC culture, but also people are here with their signs. They're dancing right now, having a good time, but they're also protesting what they call police brutality, protesting racism. They're calling for equality when it comes to DC culture, but also DC's statehood and fair housing and more job opportunities and a lack of mass incarceration. So they're calling for all these things right now, with the backdrop of DC's go-go music happening right now here along 7th and Florida Avenue. So again, this group right here, they're going to go from here and then march all the way down to Black Lives Matter Plaza. We're going to continue to stay out here and follow them along, you guys, but I'm going to send it back to you guys right now in the studio.
And Q, if you can tell me how the mood has somewhat shifted, because when we saw you a little earlier, people were kind of quiet, they were listening, still keeping their distance, practicing that social distancing, whereas in this case, you do have the music, you do have the marching.
So it's a little loud out here, but I think what you were asking was about the mood from earlier as compared to now, if I'm correct. And so yeah, those are two different groups. Earlier we were with some fraternities and sororities along with the Masons and the Eastern Stars of Washington DC. They were having a peaceful march in the same area down to the African American Civil War Memorial. And that ended with some speakers and some African drums and some more solemn prayerful moments. And then it's almost a night and day here, because we're seeing this crowd, as you can see, fully charged in the middle of the road right now with two legendary go-go bands right here in DC. We have EU and Sugar Bear, and we're having the Backyard Band. You can see there's not any police presence out here right now trying to control the traffic, but we can tell you that people are not caring about that, and they are just taking to the middle of the street right now. It's different because usually in these protests, we've seen police kind of escorting people during the streets, but we're not seeing that right now. But people are definitely taking it over right now, and you can kind of see just the mood out here. People enjoying themselves to the music, but also protesting and calling for equality right here on Juneteenth, you guys.
You know, it certainly makes sense that go-go, being the soundtrack for the city, would be the soundtrack for this movement and this moment. And protests have this way of building community, such that music does as well. And so to see the two align on this day, you knew it was going to happen, right? There's no way this action is going to happen in DC without the community that go-go brings to it.
Yeah, and notice the smiles on everybody's faces as well, and just that you can tell there's a sense of freedom there as they take over the streets of DC too. Now, let's talk about some of the physical changes we're noticing around the area. A memorial in front of RFK Stadium for the founder of Washington's football team. Yeah, it's no more. Events DC posted this video to their Facebook page showing crews removing the George Preston Marshall Memorial this morning. It was also vandalized at some point before this removal. The group said it received complaints about that statue, which it says represented a person who didn't believe in equality. He didn't integrate the team for years. It took decades, in fact. Now, in a statement, Events DC's board of directors and president called this move overdue. All right, I want to bring in our Bruce Johnson now, who's covered news in Washington, D.C. for quite some time. And Bruce, obviously this memorial has been outside of RFK for quite some time as well. What do you make of its removal today and the fact that it took this long?
You know, that's that's the line. Why did it take so long? I mean, this guy, George Preston Marshall, was a racist, and everybody knew it. He didn't refute that. He refused to sign an African American player to his Washington Redskins football team. As a matter of fact, the National Football League had to step in and order him to sign a black player. This was in the early 60s. Now, that player that he eventually signed turned out to be Bobby Mitchell, one of the all-time great players. Bobby Mitchell early on played in the backfield with Jim Brown, perhaps the greatest NFL player for the Cleveland Browns. And Bobby Mitchell told me years ago that when the Browns would play the Redskins, they would intentionally run up the score because they knew the owner was a racist and he didn't have a black player on that team. So he has to hire this black player. Bobby Mitchell comes here and he's converted from a running back to a receiver, sets all kinds of records. The guy had 91 touchdowns for his career, a Hall of Famer, 14,000 net yards, Lorenzo. That's how good this guy was. Now, after he finished playing for the Redskins, he went into the front office. He worked his way up to become assistant general manager. In a nutshell, he was the operations manager. He told me in his latter years that Dan Snyder twice passed over him, didn't give him the job of general manager of this team, and he was very bitter about that. So there was no love lost for the Redskins. He eventually left the team. He was forced out. He had an annual golf tournament that raised a lot of money for charity. He was just a great guy. He was a great ambassador for the league. And the question now becomes, what does Dan Snyder do? Okay, you've taken down this monument to the racist owner. What about the name of this team? He says he will never change it from the Redskins. The mayor said recently it's long overdue. My question is Dan Snyder looking at what's going on in the streets? Does he see this tipping point, this tidal wave? Confederate monuments and memorials are going down. Names of Confederate generals on Army and military bases going down. What is keeping Dan Snyder from stepping forth and doing the right thing, which is change the name of that team right now? Lorenzo, while I got you here, let me throw out one more thing. Back in 2005, then Ward 5 Councilman Vincent Orange proposed and got the bill passed that established Juneteenth as a city holiday here, a paid vacation day for city workers. Should also point out that back in, April 16th of 1862, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation that freed the slaves here in the nation's capital. About a year before, the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect for the rest of the country, or those slaves that were under Confederate states that had seceded from the Union. So it's been a holiday here for quite some time, and when it was first established almost 15 years ago, a lot of us didn't understand what it was, but the city got out front, parades, speeches, learn your history, that sort of thing. So this is one of those where the city gets kudos, pat on the back for being out front on this one.
Yeah, totally agree with you on that one, Bruce. And I know you've taken part in some of those parades and covered them. What do you think that has done in terms of shifting the narrative about Juneteenth and what it means and its importance here in Washington?
It's amazing. Everything has shifted. Everything has shifted. It's a perfect storm. So many things have come together here. A young person said to me last week, COVID-19 had a lot to do with this because people were locked inside. Their attention was right there, locked on their computer screens and the television. So they saw what happened in Minneapolis. They saw what happened just recently in Georgia. They have seen all of these things. And you know, the young people, the young white people who are out there in the streets also, they are out there because of their own experiences, the mass shootings. They got out and demonstrated and they saw that nothing happened. The institutions, the country didn't respond. It waited them out. And the student loans and where they've asked for relief and haven't gotten it. So it's not just young black people that are out there in the streets. I think it's a lot of people that are just fed up, tired of the institutions and how they haven't delivered. And they also don't carry the baggage of their parents and their grandparents. They know African Americans. They have gone to school with them. They have dated them. In some cases, they've married them. It's a different world. Everybody says it's a different feel out there right now. I'm one of those, I'm going to wait and see. I'm hoping, I'm optimistic. But a lot of people, neighbors on both sides of me, and they're white. We live in Northwest Washington. They had Black Lives signs out in front of their yards after Michael Brown was killed, after Ferguson. So there is a tide. There is a change that's coming. And again, I'm going to bring it back to Dan Snyder. Is he listening? Is he watching? Or is he still back up against the wall, not on his watch? He's not going to change the name of this team. I think he's wrong. I think he's going to have to, especially if those players demand it.
You think so? Because we've seen this pressure on Dan Snyder plenty of times before, and he continues on as is.
Absolutely right. You know, we've seen corporations, you know, who are now giving, you know, paid holidays for Juneteenth. We've seen a member of a corporate board to step down, you know, and give his seat to an African American. These may be small things, but I think it's the cumulative thing. I think we are seeing a groundswell here. Now, where it ends, I don't know. Yeah. Some of the smarter people that I do keep saying they need to see this go from protest to politics. Right. I think November is going to be so important. And then if you want to talk about November, what's the election going to look like? I mean, they'd better start sending out, you know, absentee ballots to everybody, not just wait for people to request them. And then can you trust the post office? A lot of people are very suspicious about that process and those institutions as well. I think we're at the beginning of something. I really do.
I agree. I remember we had the conversation at the outset of these protests, a very frank conversation. And I told you I wasn't as optimistic about change occurring because of all of this, because of what we've seen in the past. But we have seen those subtle changes over the last couple of weeks. And, you know, my mood and my view of this is much different than it was. I'm assuming yours has changed as well.
It's changing. It hasn't changed. I have seen institutions and how they react to this sort of thing. If you want to talk about the National Rifle Association, if you want to talk about government, they will wait these demonstrations and these protests out. Again, I go back to the students who came to Washington in large numbers. We did specials on these kids talking about the mass shootings on the college campuses, and they wanted gun laws changed. They wanted us to make things right for them. We've let them down. We haven't made those changes. So they're going to make the changes. You got to be the change that you're seeking is what we were always told. Now it's on them. Now it's your time. They're the biggest group. They're the biggest voting bloc now. So let's see if they're going to walk the walk or if they're just going to protest a little bit, get tired and go home. I talked to Eric Gardner's daughter yesterday, Emerald, and she says, no, we're not going home. We're going to be out there. They're out there now because of COVID-19, and there isn't any other place to go. College ended early. Jobs have ended. People are at home. Let's see what happens when we get past this phase and if people are just as angry and just as committed to these causes.
Bruce Johnson, dropping the knowledge on us there. Bruce, we appreciate you.
Okay.
Together. This is where the march ended. This is where the protest ended, right at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. But it started at Capital One Arena, and they walked through chanting things like no justice, no peace. And one thing that they're mentioning, especially Natasha Cloud, who is very vocal and speaking up for a lot of people that are in the inner city community. She was also at the protest in Philadelphia. The enemy right now is silence.
We're in the most powerful city in the world. You know, we're influential athletes, whether we like it or not. We have a voice, we have a platform, and this is just one of the ways we're going to utilize it.
Your silence is a knee on our neck. Your neutrality is taking the side of the oppressor. We're here, we still matter, our lives have always mattered, and until Black lives matter, not all lives matter.
Now, now during that interview, Natasha Cloud spoke some more also to the fans. Bradley Beal spoke to the fans. But there was one moment when Bradley Beal was talking about one of many moments of his encounters with police officers, and he shared this one that is definitely eyebrow raising.
It happened here 2 years ago. I got pulled over on 495. The officer asked me to step out of the vehicle. I'm literally on the side of the highway. My wife, me, and one of my friends sitting the median, I don't know what it is, the median of the highway on the side, and he comes up to me and says, "What if I f your Monday and put you on a headline and arrest you right now?" Didn't do anything. But because I was an athlete, a black athlete driving a nice vehicle, that's what he came up with. And how am I supposed to respond to that? I'll just be waking up on Monday morning with the ESPN headline, Bradley Beal arrested because interaction with the police. But it's not, I mean, it happens. It doesn't happen to me. It doesn't just happen to our, I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And we just have to stop being ignorant to the fact that it exists.
Now, for Bradley Beal, he's lucky to be able to share a moment like he did today, but the list goes on many individuals, especially black and brown individuals, who are not alive to share that experience because of what happened with their encounters with police officers. But right behind me, the Mystics and Wizards, right at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, they voice all those names. Voice all those names so people can know that those people who lost their lives are the motivation, the fuel on why they are protesting and marching today, you guys.
You know, Darren, we often talk about the intersection between sports and social justice, and there really is no separation anymore because athletes know that they too are people. They experience the same inhumanity as everybody else. And as we saw today, and as you helped to amplify, they've all said, until all Black Lives Matter, they're going to be out there doing the same thing that other protesters are calling for, which is this real call to conscience.
Yeah, it's good to see these athletes, these celebrities, these people that a lot of people look up to are using their voice, they're using their platform for change. And that's something Natasha Cloud has been preaching for the multiple years she's been here in DC, is using that platform for good. And she called out some other athletes who aren't doing anything to make sure you step up, to use that platform. And especially Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal, if you look at where he's from in the St. Louis, Missouri area, there has been a lot of police brutality in the St. Louis, Missouri area. And one of the things that he mentioned was when was the moment that happened in his own city, he didn't do anything about it. And that's what really bothered him this time, where now with the killing of George Floyd, he is going to do something. He's going to use his platform, and we saw that out of Bradley Beal today.
We sure did. And I should also ask you, and obviously Michael Jordan is not here, but he did once play for the Wizards. And there's been this huge documentary about him that was on ESPN. And through the years, he had been criticized for not really doing enough for social justice. And I know there had been an announcement in the past couple of weeks that he was going to give $100 million in resources to help with this imbalance. And that, too, is significant when we see them not just marching with people, but putting their resources into a solution.
I think what's changing this time around, and I'm going to relate it to some of the interviews I have with some particular athletes. A lot of athletes are afraid to speak up. They're afraid to do something because they're afraid of maybe what their owner or maybe what their head coach will say about them if they're trying to support something that maybe their teammates or coaches or owner doesn't believe in. And now it seemed like it got over that hump where now they're getting more support and more confidence to speak out and do more things in the community, like you're seeing maybe out of Michael Jordan and many companies. I mean, our own company. This is a holiday for us. Juneteenth is a holiday for our company. There's a lot of things that are changing now, and people who are afraid to speak up, or maybe are afraid to do something because they're afraid of how others would think of them, they are now coming out and helping out.
The last thing I'll ask you, because obviously Colin Kaepernick is always central to this conversation. Obviously, we heard the NFL commissioner come out and say we were wrong. He didn't say a whole lot about what he's going to do to restore the humanity of Colin Kaepernick. But do you get the sense that because of this groundswell of movement that perhaps he may be able to reclaim part of his own career?
What's funny, Leslie, and I probably said it to you a couple of years ago on the show, that I believe that Colin Kaepernick will never play in the NFL again. And now I feel bad that I even said that, because I feel that the NFL owners and all these NFL teams have no choice but to give him an opportunity. I mean, there's stories about the San Diego Chargers or the LA Chargers thinking about giving him a shot. I feel like this is now going to be a snowball effect, because when you get the commissioner of the NFL who would like Colin Kaepernick to play for a team, that is supposed to be the voice, the person who commands the NFL, who controls all the rules. If he's telling all these NFL owners, because the NFL owners, they pay the commissioner to do that job. If the commissioner is now speaking up for Colin Kaepernick, that just opens the gates where now you have to give Colin Kaepernick at least an opportunity. I'm not saying he'll make the team, because we don't know how well he'll play. But Colin Kaepernick did say when he had his workout down in the Georgia area that he's ready to play. He's just waiting for a team to call.
All right, Dee, always good to talk to you. Always good to see you, even on a day like this when it's raining outside and you're out. And I got it. Just one last thing, and I have to just say this. It was so good.
Okay, that's fine.
It's just so good to see the Mystics players out there. I mean, we can't forget that they didn't get a parade. They haven't received their rings yet. And so just to see them out, walking in the streets, just to see them physically in the city just made me smile, because of what they have poured into this city and what they continue to pour into the people of this area.
Let me add this, because I think it's very important. And you and I have had many conversations as far as in how important women are in this world. And let's not forget, it wasn't the Wizards who thought of this idea to have this march here to the MLK Memorial. It wasn't the Mystics who thought of this idea. This was Natasha Cloud's idea, and also one of her teammates. It was a woman who thought of this idea, who then all of a sudden this idea turned into what we saw with nothing but all the Wizards players. That march, yes, they marched together, but it was led by a woman. Let's not forget that.
That's how it always starts, and that's how I'm going to end it. Darren Hayes, you can't clap back on that one. You can't clap back on that one.
Hey, I hear Lorenzo laughing in the background too.
He knows what to do over here as well. He knows what to do. Thanks, Dee. All right. Education about this day is also obviously so critical, because sadly, so many Americans don't know the history of Juneteenth or why it's so important. But today, that changes.
Open a U.S. history book, and chances are its author will quickly point out January 1st, 1863, the date President Abraham Lincoln, with one proclamation, orders and declares that all persons held as slaves shall be free. What that same history book might fail to mention is what happened to these words once they arrived on the shores of Galveston, Texas, more than 2 years after Lincoln wrote them. In the 1860s, word didn't travel like it did now. And in 1865, months after General Robert E. Lee's surrender, word of the end of the Civil War had yet to hit the southern state and its 250,000 slaves. And then came General Gordon Granger's arrival in Galveston, June 19, 1865, and General Order Number 3, all slaves are free. Juneteenth was born. While Juneteenth celebrations continued to varying degrees in the U.S. for decades, it would take until 1980 for Texas to become the first state to declare it a holiday. Today, 47 states recognize it and the District of Columbia. A chapter of our history, for far too long left out of the books designed to document it. But no longer. Juneteenth, or as the National Museum of African American History and Culture now calls it, our country's second Independence Day.
somewhat quickly in and around Manassas and Bull Run and over towards Chantilly at this hour. And then you can see storms stretch farther north up towards Frederick and even further north up towards northern parts of Frederick County. So there's that flood warning I was referring to there. And then you could see it's kind of a strange, slow-moving complex of storms here in this area. Eventually, we'll get some thunderstorms in and around into D.C. and across to the Maryland side of D.C. But right now, it doesn't look like we'll see much in the way of hefty weather in the next hour or so, just sort of a light, moderate to rain in D.C. So plan on storms through the evening. Looks like we've already had a couple events delayed or canceled as a result of storms. So you want to check with your organizer or whatever Facebook group or email communication you may have with that group. And our computers do suggest more storms will roll in here. This is 5 o'clock on the Futurecast. You can see those storms popping up in and around DC. 6 o'clock, and then thunderstorms become quite numerous at 7, 8, 9 o'clock this evening. It looks like a pretty stormy evening in and around D.C. We'll come back and show you this Futurecast and the radar again in a few minutes. But for now, in and around D.C. proper and over to Arlington and Alexandria, no storms in the area.
Well, even with the rain right now, the threat of storms later on, the Juneteenth event still underway in our nation's capital. We want to get to our Adian Detil, who is live at Black Lives Matter Plaza. What are people telling you there, Adian?
Well, I have found some insane shelter from the rain. This is the biggest umbrella I have ever seen in my life. This man, his name is Cesar, and he took a neighbor's backyard umbrella and repurposed it to create a sign that says defund the police. You're from Adams Morgan. You had to carry it quite a bit away. But talk to me about why you felt this was the appropriate message to put on your umbrella.
Well, because Movement for Black Lives has basically put the message out that we want to defund the police. We want to invest in black communities, and we thought it was going to rain, so we started painting a bunch of umbrellas, and I happen to have found this umbrella, and so perfect spot to write defund the police.
And you were walking with you saw the group that came down from Freedom Plaza here. Had you been with them the whole journey?
From there, yes. We started at Judiciary Square, and then at Freedom Plaza, we met up with another group that came from the Capitol, and then here we are. It's to celebrate Juneteenth. And so on this day, we want to say Black Lives Matter, and Black Lives Matter DC is saying defund the police.
This is something I want to talk about. Have you celebrated Juneteenth before, or is this your very first time? And what does that mean for you if this is your first time?
Well, I think for a lot of people, maybe this is the first time. I grew up in Texas, so in Texas, we actually do celebrate. Even as a kid, my parents would take me out to Juneteenth celebrations. And so I've found myself this year explaining Juneteenth to a lot of my friends. And yeah, it's definitely, it's exciting to see that it's being raised in the profile. It's just an important holiday. I'm glad lots of corporations and now the people are definitely like, it's a national holiday.
Thank you so much. I was talking to a mother and daughter earlier today. The Ventura family, they were here taking quinceañera photos. Yamilet is going to be 15 in August, and she was walking through here with a beautiful blue dress that she was holding different signs. One of them said that USA needs a cleansing, and she was holding a piece of sage and burning it as she walked through, but she just looked so beautiful that I needed to stop and talk to her. And what she and her mom told me is that she wants to make sure that these pictures, which will be passed down for generation and generation in her family, mean something more than just a birthday celebration. She said if they were going to celebrate anything, it was going to be Juneteenth to commemorate that. And she also said that the mom and the son were here about a week and a half ago, and they were pepper sprayed right here on Lafayette Plaza, which is why it was so important for them to bring the daughter back here to take her pictures here. So I've seen a lot of interesting stories happen here today. It's been very calm. Not a lot of people walking on Black Lives Matter Plaza up until about an hour ago when the protesters that came down K Street made a left and came up here onto Black Lives Matter Plaza and are now facing the White House. I was told that there have been a number of speakers throughout the day. We haven't had that atmosphere here. Instead, it's been a number of dancers. There's been a lot of artwork that's been done on the streets. I talked to a group that
has a number of organizations around the world. One of them is based in Mexico, and they're using the sunflower as their symbol. And because in Spanish it's called girasol, which means turn toward the sun. And they just grow so high that they said it's a symbol of what they want this movement to mean for them. They want people to lift up and look toward the light, because that is how we're going to see a better day. And so there have just been so many moving moments, although a very different atmosphere than other days that I've been to Black Lives Matter Plaza. I will say this, in general, since this paint has hit.
All right, it looks like we lost our Adiande Till there, live outside of Black Lives Matter Plaza. You can see just how large the crowd is this time around, and she pointed out rather that, yeah, the mood is a bit different this time compared to some of the other moments she's been out at Black Lives Matter Plaza. We're going to work to chat with her in just a minute, but again, we're going to have continuing coverage of Juneteenth marches and rallies throughout the day, both on air and online at WUSA9.com and our WUSA9 app. Yeah. We'll be right back.
Big march kind of came up this street and descended upon Lafayette Square, joining the really big crowd behind me. What's really interesting about today that we noticed is sort of the mix of emotions involved in being part of this Juneteenth big gathering, multiple gatherings really happening across D.C. A festive atmosphere in some parts with music playing and people dancing. But of course, all the signs that we're used to seeing with the protests, calling to defund police, calling for changes with affordable housing, some people saying cancel rent. There were all sorts of speeches at this event that we were at Freedom Plaza, just a few blocks away from where I'm standing right now, including one by an 8-year-old girl who spoke about another big issue, a part of these gatherings. She was talking about SRO officers, the school resource officers, the police officers that are inside schools, saying school is no place for them. So again, all sorts of things that we are seeing. I'll step out of the way again. What we're seeing is the people leaving Freedom Plaza and walking down to Lafayette Square that you see behind me, the really big gathering happening here today, it appears, in D.C. But we know of multiple events happening, including one at Freedom Plaza. I think it's at around 5 o'clock. Another group holding a big gathering there. So we're keeping an eye on everything here happening in D.C. today. And as we said, many people heading to the area you see behind me right now.
All right, Tom. Thank you.
There's a lot of information about the background of Juneteenth, but the question is, how did we get here? And why is this holiday so much different from previous Juneteenths? Marcella Robertson joins us to explain.
Juneteenth is nothing new. The holiday that celebrates the end of slavery has been observed by Black people for years. This year, it's a day protests for racial justice will continue nationwide.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
The protests over the last month were sparked by the deaths of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, Rayshard Brooks, and countless other Black people who have died at the hands of police. Friday's protests continue the calls for change that include better investments in education and housing for people of color, and calls to defund the police.
One of our demands are to demilitarize the police and to redirect our investments into community initiatives.
D.C. Councilmember Kenyon McDuffie earlier this month on calls to defund police in the district.
It's not zeroing out the entire budget of police departments. They're saying they want to see the resources that are currently going into over-policing communities of color to be shifted into investments in the real needs of those very communities.
Mochella, a go-go march planned for Friday, will happen in front of Ben's Chili Bowl. Virginia Ali is the longtime owner of the restaurant that survived the D.C. riots following the death of Martin Luther King Jr., essentially serving as a safe haven for protesters.
I marched with Martin Luther King in 1960s and for basic human rights, and here we are today fighting for the same thing. So I'm proud to be here to support our young people and the efforts that are being put forth today.
minority officers who are alleging they have been discriminated against and have been retaliated against for filing complaints. Velez and also Brooks said they are bringing an independent consultant into the department to help them identify what needs reforming and then to act on it.
We're at a crossroads where we have an opportunity to choose a path that unites us, that helps strengthen the relationship between the residents in Prince George's County and the men and women of the Prince George's County Police Department.
I am under no illusion that there aren't things that are broken in our police department. What I can tell you is that I am committed, however, along with Chief Velez and others, to conduct a comprehensive assessment to determine where our challenges are. This is a process that I can tell you didn't just start recently. This has been several months ago that we sought to bring in a consultant. We'll continue that work, and whatever we find that is broken, I assure you I will fix it.
Now, the previous police chief, Hank Stawinski, resigned abruptly yesterday, only hours after the ACLU of Maryland released a report that details over 24 instances where white officers engaged in allegedly racist conduct, including using racial epithets and other derogatory language or circulating offensive imagery. According to the report, most of the officers who are accused received no or minimal discipline. The report describes 5 instances from complaints from prominent civic leaders about racist behavior by white officers who, again, were not disciplined, according to the report. That report is based on police internal documents that a judge forced them to turn over. Now it's evidence in this federal discrimination lawsuit against the department that is ongoing. It's notable that at the request of the department, a judge ordered a lot of that report with a lot of the information to be redacted and blacked out. The state's attorney here in Prince George's County this afternoon called on the police department to remove the redactions. Neither the county executive, Angela Also Brooks, nor the incoming interim police chief, Hector Velez, said that they would take a position on that because this is a matter that is still in federal court. Scott Broom, WUSA 9.
Well, thousands commemorate this holiday all over the district. D.C. Mayor Bowser honored Juneteenth today by donating a Black Lives Matter Plaza street sign to the Museum of African American History and Culture. And the words on that historic sign will live on through history.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's how the mayor is marking this Juneteenth. Other people are taking to the streets of D.C. We want to get to our Michael Quander, who's in the Shaw neighborhood this evening. Hey, Q.
Hey, you guys, look, so we're walking down 16th Street after leaving near the Howard Theater. So now we're at, I want to say at 16th and R. We're just behind Backyard Band right here in Northwest DC, also with EU and Sugar Bear. Okay, I guess we're going to send it back to you guys in the studio. I don't know if you all can see our shot or not.
Hear you. Okay. There was our Michael Quander there. You can see, folks, even with the rain, they got their umbrellas out, the music playing.
What were you saying?
I don't think he's talking to us. Obviously, they're going to keep
going.
Either.
You know what? It's so funny when you have live coverage, you never know. I'm over here doing, air traffic control. Q's out there doing his thing.
A lot going on.
Yeah, we see a lot of people out there. I'm amazed that
I don't know if you all can hear me or not, you guys,
yeah,
but I want to keep
you.
talking right now, I guess. So we're on 16th Street in Northwest DC. I don't know what our producer was saying in my ear, but I want to make sure you all can hear me okay, because this is a monument. Again, seeing two legendary DC go-go bands along with several fans and DC natives here walking down 16th Street toward the White House, toward Black Lives Matter Plaza. Again, you all saw all of what's happening right here behind me. It may seem like a party, but I got to tell you, it's much more than that. People are using DC culture, protest, using go-go music as a form of protest. You all know that go-go music is about that call and response, usually with neighborhoods. But today we've been hearing some of those similar chants that we've been hearing throughout this entire movement. People saying Black Lives Matter, hands up, don't shoot. Some of those same things. We've also seen a fight for local things as well, equality in education, housing, job opportunities, and all that kind of stuff. And so this is what it's been You can see that they've been kind of stopping back and forth a little bit as they make their way down to Black Lives Matter Plaza. But this has been the culture out here. We talked to a father who brought some of his children out here. They all had a verse that said Black Lives Matter. He said it was important for him to bring his kids out here because he wanted them to not only be a part of this movement, but also to be a part of this local culture and the movement that we've been seeing throughout the city today. So we saw something similar about 2 Saturdays ago with a band, 2 bands marching down here this way. This is again with some of the old school bands continuing to march down and making their voices heard as well. All a part of the Don't Mute DC movement right here in the nation's capital, you guys.
Yeah, different mood depending on where you are in the city. Obviously, they're using go-go to get their message across. All right, our Michael Quander, thank you so much. We'll be right back.
repeating himself over and over again when that's not even why we're here. And yes, I'm a believer, but you putting on a spectacle is going to distract others from the real message that we need to uplift ourselves. And yes, Jesus is there. Jesus is out there.
There was a moment where you said to him, "Can I make a poster for you instead of doing this?" What did he say to you?
He told me he doesn't need a poster. He doesn't need one. But it's just his message would not get across all these mass people and the majority. Yes, the minority might understand, but it was just confusing.
And Ricardo, you were also here. What did you think when you saw this man demonstrating in the way he was?
First off, it caught my eye because it was very grotesque and frankly distasteful. It felt like a spectacle, like Cornelius was saying, that was distracting the narrative completely of what we're here today to talk about. I am also a believer, but I believe we're here today to solely focus on Black Lives Matter, this political movement that's meant to cause social change in the betterment of Black lives. And what this man was doing was distracting from that, distracting from the Black voices that were leading this movement right behind him and causing a spectacle. And even when we went up to him, he couldn't give us a clear message of what he even was talking about. So there was not any reason to believe it had much base behind it, except behind some vague dog whistles of Christianity and Bible over constitutionality. And I felt like it was just an example of people that are supposed to be guests at these movements, coming in with their own outside agendas and distracting the narrative, which is counterintuitive. And I feel like that's something we have to all be mindful of.
Thank you, Ricardo and Cornelius. From Black Lives Matter Plaza, I'm Ariane Daytil. Back to you, Lorenzo.
All right, Ariane, thank you.
So this group has been assembled this afternoon, but some groups were out bright and early to start their morning with Juneteenth rallies. And Nicole D'Antonio has a look at one march out in Ward 8.
Everyone you see here is part of the Ward 8 March. Everyone walked from Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue all the way up around the neighborhood, taking a pause for a moment of silence. And I'm going to bring in Tala Webster. You have been out here marching with everyone else. What has been going through your mind as you see the hundreds of people show up here today?
I'm so inspired. I'm so inspired that our youth are taking the action that they're taking. I'm just proud of our babies. So proud of our babies. Thinking about our ancestors and where we've come and where we're going. It's a powerful experience for me.
And you see so many people holding signs. We've also heard from a lot of powerful speakers, including young students. I mean, people as old as 14, 15 years old.
Yes, yes. That's why it's so inspirational. We have to encourage our youth to step up and speak out. There's so many ideals, so much diversity. And if we all come together, it's a powerful thing in our universe.
What message do you want people that are here today, or maybe people that couldn't be here today, what message do you want them to hear through this?
Freedom ain't free. Freedom ain't free. It's a struggle, and the struggle has to continue. So not only us, but all people are free.
Paula, thank you for sharing part of your story, and thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I just want to quickly show you right over here. Now, this march that you see here, this is one of more than a dozen marches going on all around the DMV just today, all scheduled at different times. There's also marches scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. We're going to continue to follow this peaceful march and rally and bring you updates both on air and online at WSA9.com. Nicole D'Antonio, WSA 9.
kind of policing over here on this side of the river. Don't come with your semi-automatic and your automatic weapons and your riot gear and your tanks and military equipment, that sort of thing. So I don't think the mayor has changed in terms of her basic approach to politics. I think we see a side of Muriel Bowser that we haven't seen for a while. And I think we can probably thank Donald Trump for that. I think he took on this woman and she brought it to him, she brought it to him in more ways than one. I think she's shown well, and I know her people are quite proud of her.
Yeah, the political climate is a bit different now as well, Bruce. You kind of touched on that by mentioning how Mayor Bowser has had to change and had to sort of conform to this current political climate. So you've covered many administrations, you've covered the police department for quite some time. We heard Mayor Bowser and Chief Newsham talk about how the police department has been reformed over the last roughly 2 decades or so. How has the department changed?
Well, whatever changes they've made, they need to get the message that it hasn't been enough. And I think that's where we need to be. None of us can stand still. And again, what we need to do is take, and I think this is where we come together in terms of defund or reform. You need to go back to zero-based budgeting here. And maybe you do it not just with police, but you do it with housing, employment services, human resources, everything. You look at everything at this point. You put it all on the table, and you take it all the way down, and we start with zeros, and you build it up from there. If that's what they mean by defund, I think a lot of people would agree with that. What people won't agree with is we don't need a police department, okay? So I think whether the chief wants it or not, he better be prepared for changes. There is going to be change, and the change is going to come from the outside, I think. You know, police have had ample opportunity over the years, both here and everywhere, to change. But what happens is it seems that in a lot of instances, people change once they become police officers. It's the rank and file, it's the union, it's all these other institutions within the body politic, if you will, of the police department that decides what kind of cop you're going to become. And I think the overriding message that the police should be getting right now is we don't like what we're seeing of police. You need to change. And another thing, Lorenzo, that we're hearing a lot of, you're hearing about, police in Buffalo resigning out of support. You're hearing about police calling in sick in Atlanta in support of the officers who've been charged. Same for Minneapolis. You know what the public response to that has been? Good riddance. Perhaps you shouldn't be a police officer in the first place because it's insubordination, and it sends a message that perhaps the chief, the mayor, and these elected officials don't really run the departments. Maybe it is the middle management there that's running these departments. If they're going to be deciding who comes to work and who doesn't come to work, that's pretty dangerous. I don't think you can look at it any other way.
Yeah, and Bruce, is it complicated at all when you look at a city like DC, our region, because you have perhaps different interactions in Northwest DC, but then you go east of the river and let's say Southeast, and people living there say they haven't had the best relationship with police officers. So how do you make that work in one department?
Yeah, former police chief Kathy Lanier once said to me, you don't police the same in every area of the city. That sounds cold, that sounds calculated when you hear it, but when you drill down and try and figure out what she's talking about or what it could mean, you go like, okay, all right, because people have different needs at different parts of the city, okay? In upper Northwest, Chevy Chase, your need for a cop. I was at a gas station one time. This woman turns to the police officer in uniform and says, can you pump my gas for me? Wow. I can't imagine anybody in Southeast DC saying, to a police officer, can you pump my gas for me? They don't have that kind of relationship. She looks at the cop in upper Northwest. That cop is my neighbor. That cop is here to be of service. Now, whether he wanted to do it or not, he did do it. But my point being, it is a different relationship. And again, I think a lot of it has to, let me put it this way. Let me be quite frank with you, Lorenzo. I grew up in the projects, okay? We needed police in the projects and good cops and cops who knew the lay of the land because they will steal your stuff in the neighborhood that I grew up in, okay? And you can't go get it. You need somebody to guard your stuff. When you're being threatened, when your mom is being threatened by somebody, you need to call police and you want them to respond quickly and you want them to restore order. I don't think police by themselves prevent crime, but they can restore order. I don't think anybody's talking about we don't need law enforcement. Another thing, let me say this about cops. A lot of people think, we're asking too much of cops. Okay, they are trained a certain way to show up and be in charge, use force where necessary. They're strapped for battle, that sort of thing. They've got the badge and the gun. But a lot of the things they're confronted with, the mental issues they're confronted with, the drug addicts, that they're confronted with, drug users, people that perhaps most of us don't want to see in jail, and yet our jails are packed. We have separate wings in a lot of our jails for the mentally ill. They needed help. They didn't need an arrest record. And these kinds of things are happening, and that's what happens when you call the police, because that's what they're trained to do. So when you bring this police down, zero-based again, start building it back up, you might want to give them a different set of skills. It might not just be, when I show up, I either have to lock you up or shoot you or whatever. No, there should be other options. And I think that's another thing that people are asking for. Give them a different set of skills and other options. And if you need to bring other people in, social workers, mental health workers, that sort of thing, maybe you make them part of the emergency response team and you bring them in along with police. So the cop doesn't have to be the jury, executioner, and the be all in these situations. This is not just me talking. This is just stuff I've heard over the years. And this is what people are saying now. I'm following a lot of this stuff and a lot of good thought and a lot of interpretations are going into all this. And I think we're all going to come out better for this in the end, especially people that need some kind of help, the communities. I was looking at something, the average median income in DC. For white families, it's like $134,000. These are 2017 stats. For black families, it's like $43,000. 20% of the black population is below the poverty line in this city. The disparity there is just incredible. So when you're bringing everything down, zero base, and you start looking at everything, and all of the agencies, not just police, you need to look at that. You need to look at where the opportunities are or are not. If you can take care of a lot of those other issues, the police department, they don't become such a big deal. They don't become, the epicenter. You've got these other issues that we need to take care of. And that's where I think the mayor is going to get a lot of pressure after this, because expectations, demands, I think, have been risen incredibly since this all started. We started out talking about police brutality and Black Lives Matter. They've been out there for years, and now they're getting some help. But this has gone from police brutality and police killing, African Americans to Confederate monuments, museums. And they're going to get to housing and jobs and all these other things. I mean, they are demanding a different day. And again, I come back to what I said to you earlier, and then I'll shut up. You got to go from protest to politics, though. I mean, that's the process. That's the deal. You can't stand outside forever tossing, bricks and stones and that sort of thing. I'm not talking about the rioting either. I'm just talking about making noise. You gotta vote. And I think people have learned from what happened in 2016. They've learned what happens, especially African Americans. You've learned what happens when you don't vote.
Right. When you don't vote and when you don't keep voicing, making sure your voice is heard. All right, Bruce, always appreciate your perspective. Thank you so much. And we're going to have coverage of Juneteenth marches and rallies throughout the day, both on air and the WUSA9 app and WUSA9.com. For everything you need to know about Juneteenth, just text Juneteenth to 202-895-5599. And we'd love to see some of your pictures and hear about your experiences out there as well. Just text them to us. We'll be right back.
It's a festive atmosphere. If you look down here, you can see people dancing too, just down this street. Again, it's bringing those calls for change, and it's bringing those signs that we've seen during the protests and all, but it's also bringing special honoring. Enid, thank you very much for letting us talk to you. As we said, this food on its last supply right here, and still a long line for it all, looks very good. And as we said, all sorts of different gatherings happening in DC today for this.
You know, it's interesting that you touch on food because there are some traditional foods that have been eaten around Juneteenth, the fried chicken, the greens, the soul food, but also some sort of red soda which represents blood that has been shed. And I'm just reading through lots of other things that have been eaten. Food is obviously a part of this celebration that people have had across the country. Obviously, we're commemorating and there's action and it's different, but it is just interesting to see how all of these different events today have brought in different parts of how we remember this moment in time. And for many people, you can't have a gathering, a family gathering of sorts for Juneteenth without having the kinds of foods that would commemorate that time as well.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that. I was about to say a lot of these people out there at a lot of these booths, it seems like they're trying to create that family atmosphere as well. You know, we've seen the dancing, we've seen a lot of people chatting it up. So in terms of being unified, feeling like a family is a big part of this.
This day is truly about community, and we will have much more on the day and the day's events when we come back after the break.
drive across those flooded roads if you were driving on Virginia 234 or Interstate 66 and US 29 as well, south and west from Center Heights. And then we go north and west. We've had some storms in around our West Virginia counties and western Maryland as well. Nothing severe, of course, and those are starting to die out a little bit. We expect more to kind of flare up later this afternoon into the evening hours here. So we do expect a few more storms around through this evening. There is your planner for the evening hours for those who are out at some of the Juneteenth activities. Yeah, you'll dodge storms. And then if you're just out with family, friends, or you're just heading out for a walk or a jog, check the radar before you head out. You get a free radar from our free WUSA 9 app. We'll have a complete look at the forecast coming up in our 5 o'clock hour. We'll be right back.
Juneteenth as America's other Independence Day, marking the end of slavery in the U.S.
The 4th of July freed the land. Juneteenth freed the people.
Steve Williams is president of the National Juneteenth Observance Foundation. The group is asking Congress to recognize the date as a holiday equal to the 4th of July. A petition has gathered hundreds of thousands of signatures.
If Congress is not willing to listen to the people, then I would ask and implore the president to move through an executive order and make Juneteenth a national day of observance.
The holiday dates back to June 19, 1865, when a Union general announced from this balcony in Galveston, Texas, that enslaved African Americans were free. Slaves in Texas were the last to learn of their liberation 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Douglas Matthews coordinates celebrations there with a pointed message.
Everybody should be respected, no matter what race, color, or creed they are, and that why can't the world get along better?
That conversation has intensified as protests against systemic racism have swept across the country. A number of prominent businesses, including the NFL, Twitter, and Nike, have designated the date a company holiday.
Most states do recognize Juneteenth in some way. Here in California, it's officially a day of observance, but a handful of states have taken it a step further.
This week, the governors of New York and Virginia said they're proposing legislation to make Juneteenth a paid holiday for state employees, as it is in Texas.
This action will formalize that observance.
Juneteenth activists say for all Americans serious about correcting the nation's social injustice, recognizing this holiday is a step in the right direction. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, a live look now over Black Lives Matter Plaza. We'll be right back. Okay, actually, we're going to stay with you for just a minute, but we were showing you a second ago the number of groups that are converging onto Black Lives Matter Plaza at this point. We saw the Don't Mute DC group. They were marching throughout the streets of DC. Our Michael Quander has been with them using go-go as a call to action for a lot of people. Again, marching from Shaw and ending here at Black Lives Matter Plaza, where these groups have really, from different backgrounds and different messages, have been coming to this point to sort of reflect on where we are now and talking about the importance of Juneteenth, not just celebrating, but again, a call to action at this point, because people want to see change in a number of areas, not when you just talk about the police department, but education, housing, just again, a number of areas. So even with the rain right now, you see folks, they are still passionate about this, and they have been relentless for the most part, promising to keep this going and keep the pressure on a number of our leaders. So we're going to keep monitoring this scene here, again, outside of Black Lives Matter Plaza. Our Michael Quander, he's been marching again with the group Don't Mute DC. He joins us by phone right now. And now that they are in place here, Q, what are they doing?
Hey, Lorenzo, look, this is something beautiful to watch right now from this bird's eye view of thousands of people now surrounding two of DC's most popular go-go bands. You know, that group started up from the Howard Theater up near the U Street corridor in Shaw, and then hit the U Street corridor, passed by 14th and U, that legendary Don't Mute DC go-go spot where we see a lot of those gatherings happen. They continued on down 16th Street, and now we are right here where you all are looking at the band now at Black Lives Matter Plaza, right just steps away from the president's front door. So I think this is the end spot for them. I think once they get finished performing here, this is going to be kind of the ending. It's like kind of the last hurrah for this band. They have had a great crowd, even during the rain, follow them throughout this whole thing. And, you know, when you think about go-go music, right, this is really the heartbeat of D.C., the soul of D.C. This is the soundtrack of our lives. We listen to this in the good times, in the bad times, and even though it may look like a party to outsiders, the people who know our music and know our culture, they know that we use our music as a form of protest as well. I was explaining to you guys earlier that go-go music is all about that call and response. And so we've been hearing some of those protest songs, those protest chants, mixed in with our popular songs that they get from both EU and Sugar Bear, and we have the Backyard Band here as well. And so this is kind of what they've been doing the whole time, and they wanted to make a point to come here to Black Lives Matter Plaza to send a message right here on this world stage, right here from the nation's capital, you guys.
Yeah, and Q, on that same note, they've really been pushing Don't Mute DC. You know, it started with primarily talking about preserving go-go and talking about the importance of go-go music to DC's culture. But since that, their message and their method has also evolved, and they focused on a lot of the issues at this point too, right?
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about this, is because it has now transcended just about go-go music, but about culture and the lives of Chocolate City residents, right? So this is a city that for so long has had a rich African-American history. And today, from talking to some of the organizers, today was one about recognizing the culture, celebrating Juneteenth, right? But even in the backdrop of that, realizing the times that we're living in right now, fighting for equality, fighting for the end of police brutality, not only here in D.C., but across the country. They are calling for equal rights in education. They are wanting to also see a lot of neighborhoods have the same treatment as other neighborhoods in the city, where a lot of Black people right now are being pushed out. They want to make sure that people have the fair opportunities right here in our hometown. All
right. Our Michael Quander, thank you so much. And now I want to get to Ardelia Gonzalez, who's on the ground there as well at Black Lives Matter Plaza. How have you noticed the mood shift, Dee?
So let me just tell you that the clouds parted, the rain cleared, and then Sugar Bear and EU rolled through. So the mood has certainly shifted and changed a bit here at Black Lives Matter Plaza. And it was so appropriate that Quander broke down the history and meaning of what go-go is to this city. It is the heartbeat, the drumbeat, the soul of this city. And so certainly it has a very important role to play as members of this city, as people in this city gather to fight for their rights and gather to commemorate Juneteenth. Take a look at this massive crowd that we have here who has gathered. The rain did clear a few folks out, but it did not stop many people from sticking around from rallying, from waving their hands, from cheering, for fighting for statehood, for fighting for independence. We're going to let you listen to EU one more time as we finish up here and toss it to break.
All right, it's a little tough to hear, Delia, with the music blasting right now, but I don't know if our photographer can hear me as well. It's probably a bit tough, but you saw there in that makeshift float, the flatbed of that truck. And Quander touched on this. You do have these groups that are going through DC playing the music, and it looks like a big party, but you see right there, their message is bold, in bold print there: free victims of unjust drugs and conspiracy laws, reinstate DC's parole board now. So they're making sure they get their message across while going through DC and bringing people together as well. We're going to have much more coming up next on the news at 5. We'll be right back.
We want to say Black Lives Matter, and Black Lives Matter DC is saying defund the police.
Thinking about our ancestors and where we've come and where we're going, it's a powerful experience for me.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this Juneteenth. I'm Leslie Foster, along with Adam Longo and Lorenzo Hall.
Yeah, right now there are multiple events going on to commemorate this historic day. We have crews at Freedom Plaza, Lafayette Park, and other events around the area.
We're going to check in with them in just a moment. First, though, if you or someone you know are at a Juneteenth event, we want you to send us your photos and videos so we can use them online and on the air. You can text them to us at this number, 202-895-5599. So let's begin with our Delia Gonzalez, who's been live in Lafayette Square for us. Delia, how is the crowd there, and how have things progressed through the afternoon?
Well, certainly we now have an all-out party here at Black Lives Matter Plaza. Let's take a look. Sugar Bear and EU have now come, and they are doing the call performance that Go-Go is so popular and known for. You know, even though this looks like a celebration, many folks have been taking this time to remember our history, continue to fight for DC statehood, and to take time to learn more about Juneteenth and to commit to this cause. Folks we've talked to say they will continue to be here, continue to rally until they see not only change in DC, but change around the country. People are dancing,
are celebrating, but certainly are here to mark this moment and to say that our voices matter, our lives matter, and they are here to ensure that their voices are heard and that a difference is seen in this country. I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, Celia, I have to just say, I was saying to Zoe, I can't listen to go-go music without dancing, so I'm trying to stay in my lane right here in this box, right? I know that this is a party atmosphere with a purpose, and we cannot break it down here in the boxes, Zoe.
Keep it calm, you know.
Keep it calm.
Stay focused, Les. All right, showers are moving through parts of the area right now. How will that impact these protests and demonstrations throughout the evening? Here's Chester Lampkin. Hey, Chester.
Hey, Lorenzo. Yeah, right now it's dried up in D.C. I think a lot of our reporters were talking about that, which is good news, except for far northwestern parts of the city and the northeastern corner up towards Silver Spring and bordering the Chillam and Hyattsville areas. But showers really haven't been that big of a deal. We haven't had any thunderstorms rumble through D.C., but Fairfax County has gotten hit multiple times with thunderstorms. Right now, we do have a storm cell south and west of you guys down over towards the Bull Run area in Haymarket in Prince William County and west of Manassas right now. There is a flash flood warning for those areas until 7:30 this evening. Also, a few storms flaring up north and west of D.C. Had some come through Frederick. There's one not far from Hagerstown, and then off to the south where the rain's coming from. It's quieted down, so looks like we'll get a little bit of a break. We kind of anticipated this, and then we'll scatter in a few more storms later this evening, 7, 8, 9 o'clock this evening. Our Futurecast kind of supports that. Dry next couple of hours or next hour or so, and then 7, 8 o'clock will pop up a few more showers and a few more thunderstorms. Heavy downpours are the biggest threats this evening. Not really expecting severe weather, but lightning always dangerous, so be careful as you're stepping out the door this evening, whether it's a protest or march or you're just hanging out with the family in the backyard trying to fire up the grill. Back to you guys.
All right, we're going to go to our Tom Dempsey, who is pretty
We were told to
close.
stay at Lafayette Square.
Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, yeah, no, we're standing right near Lafayette Square where just about 10 minutes ago we saw this truck pull past us playing the music. You might even be able to hear it off in the distance right now. Being out here for the last few hours has really been a tale of two different sort of atmospheres. Of course, you have the very similar protest feel to it all. You hear you see the signs and you hear the chants raising awareness of issues like defunding the police, or the canceling rent, as some of the protesters would call it, or even raising awareness about issues like affordable housing. And then you have, what's kind of happening out here, right near the White House, as we see right there, but also, like I said, sort of a festive atmosphere with music playing, people dancing. The last time you saw us, we were at that food tent with the blue tents you see behind us, serving soul food to honor Juneteenth. So it's interesting to see all the different feelings that people have being out here. Like I said, you have the determined and motivated people out here trying to raise awareness about those issues, and then you have people wanting to honor this Juneteenth Day and wanting to serve soul food for free for the people, and also to dance along with others and to listen to music. So there's all sorts of these gatherings going on. We even heard about some sort of a flash mob event going on, or an event happening at Freedom Plaza, which we're going to head to soon. But this Juneteenth really bringing all sorts of crowds together, all sorts of different emotions together here in D.C. And this is all taking place right near the White House.
It's about protests and politics and personhood. Tom, thank you. How are you commemorating Juneteenth today? Send us your photos and your videos. You can text the word Juneteenth to 202-895-5599.
So there's certainly a lot going on today. This a day that people in Montgomery County have been waiting for. Phase 2 of reopening is officially underway. That means folks can do things like dine indoors. In-store shopping, they can visit the salon or barbershop as well, all with restrictions though. And there's also some good news for D.C. residents. Mayor Bowser says Phase 2 there will begin Monday. We're going to hear more from her coming up tonight at 5:30.
Also, Adam, who is Prince George's County's new interim chief? We'll hear from the man who's stepping in a day after the chief, Hank Stawinski, stepped down because of allegations of racial bias. Plus, Plus, what's happening right here? Hear about the big message sent outside of RFK Stadium today.
And this is a live look over Black Lives Matter Plaza. It is a sea of humanity as we head to break on this Juneteenth, and we'll take you to more events throughout the next hour. Stay with us.
Also, Brooks installed a 26-year veteran officer as an interim chief. He is Assistant Chief Hector Velez.
As of tomorrow, I will have served this county and this police department for 26 years. And that's because I care deeply about the residents of this county and the men and women of the Prince George's County Police Department.
Both Velez and also Brooks talked broadly today about reforming the department, which is currently being sued by 13 minority officers who are alleging they have been discriminated against and have been retaliated against for filing complaints. Velez and also Brooks said they are bringing an independent consultant into the department to help them identify what needs reforming and then to act on it.
We're at a crossroads where we have an opportunity to choose a path that unites us.
I am under no illusion that there aren't things that are broken in our police department. What I can tell you is that I am committed, however, along with Chief Velez and others, to conduct a comprehensive assessment to determine where our challenges are. And whatever we find that is broken, I assure you I will fix it.
Now, the previous police chief, Hank Stawinski, resigned abruptly yesterday, only hours after the ACLU of Maryland released a report that details over 24 instances where white officers engaged in allegedly racist conduct. According to the report, most of the officers who are accused received no or minimal discipline. It's notable that at the request of the department, a judge ordered a lot of that report to be redacted and blacked out. The state's attorney here in Prince George's County this afternoon called on the police department to remove the redactions. Neither the county executive, Angela Alsobrooks, nor the incoming interim police chief, Hector Velez, said that they would take a position on that because this is a matter that is still in federal court. Scott Broom, WUSA 9.
The judge in the case has not yet ruled on whether or not the allegations of racism in the Prince George's County Police Department are true.
Turning to another story that's getting a lot of talk tonight, the sports authority that oversees RFK Stadium, it's removed the monument to the founder and former owner of the Washington football team. We're talking George Preston Marshall. He was a racist by any other definition. He was the last NFL owner to integrate his roster, and he did so only after the federal government threatened to pull his stadium lease. Today, the Sports Authority, Events DC, said removing Marshall's monument from RFK was, in their words, overdue. Tonight, several groups renewing their call for current team owner Dan Snyder to change the team's name. Should point out that Dan Snyder has steadfastly said in the past that he will never change this name. The mayor said only recently that she thinks it's long overdue, and a lot of people agree with her. I should point out that the first black player to play for the Washington Redskins was the late but great Bobby Mitchell. He had been in the backfield with Jim Brown in Cleveland. He was a running back at the time. He said they would intentionally run up the score against the Redskins because they felt the owner was racist and the team had no black players. He was very upset when he was traded here in the early 1960s. He was moved from running back to wide receiver. He went on to become an all-pro, fastest man in the league before Darrell Green ever even thought about football. Bobby Taylor was assistant general manager for the Redskins for a number of years, and he told me personally before he died that he felt Dan Snyder twice looked the other way and would not promote him to general manager of that team. Bobby Mitchell died at 85 back in April. Leslie?
You know, Bruce, Washington has a complicated relationship with this team, right? You love the team, but you don't necessarily like the name of it. And you got to wonder if this is going to turn the tide a little bit, if this is going to be the thing that maybe pushes Snyder, Dan Snyder, to think differently about his I'm never going to change the name, the team name.
You know, you're absolutely right. You know, Washington has a complicated history when it comes to race, period. I was thinking as I'm watching all of the developments today, Leslie, you know, there was a time in the 19th century in this city, and keep in mind, we don't have plantations here, right? It's federal territory. But there was a time in this city where we had more African Americans in chains as slaves than we had free African Americans. And what was going on is that Virginia and Maryland that did have plantations, they were getting out of the tobacco business, but they were bringing their slaves here to be sold, to be shipped down south where cotton had become king. So they would go from here down the Potomac River to the Chesapeake Bay to the Atlantic Ocean. They would go overland. In some cases before the railroad, I'm told they were even forced to walk. The slaves here got their freedom. It was the year before Abraham Lincoln passed the Emancipation Proclamation. So the city has always had that kind of complicated history here. Dan Snyder, let's just hope he does the right thing sooner rather than later.
Let's sure hope so. All right, Bruce, we'll talk to you just a little bit later. D? So?
Okay. All right, people throughout the district are commemorating the end of slavery with a number of Juneteenth demonstrations throughout the city. Ardelia Gonzalez is at Black Lives Matter Plaza. Hey, D.
You know, I was going to say, where's Darren Haynes when you need him? Because he is a member of Omega Psi-Phi, and we have the brothers here from at least 20 different chapters who have been here in Black Lives Matter Plaza to not only entertain us, to not only feed us, but to feed our minds and get us to register to vote. So tell me why you're here and what's the mission?
Absolutely. Well, yes, voter registration is one of our mandated programs from Omega Psi-Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So we felt that what we're doing now, protesting, you know, getting out here, hearing our voices, making our voices heard, it's important that we also get registered to vote because we do it out here, and then come November, we do it there, and that's where change really starts.
All right, thank you so much. Let's take another look around. Take a look at all of these folks who are here. You know, we saw some rain showers come through. That thinned out the crowd, but did not deter folks. We saw another crowd of folks. A go-go band came by. This is the hub. This is where people are coming to mark this historic day, just to say that we were here on Juneteenth at Black Lives Matter Plaza. Back to you.
Now, your WUSA 9 weather forecast, sponsored by Cox.
All right, Chester, we've had our eyes on the skies all day, and it looks like the showers have moved out for right now.
Yeah, and I think we'll stay dry for maybe another hour, maybe up to 2 hours in D.C. before another batch of rain tries its best to move into the metro. So this is what it looks like right now. D.C. is quiet, and there's even a little bit of sunshine breaking through some of that cloud cover at this evening hour here, 5 o'clock in the evening. All thanks to this low pressure, which is been sitting over the mid-Atlantic and the southeast for days now. That's why we're seeing this rain and occasional downpours. We had one batch of rain move through D.C. We still have a pretty hefty storm south and west of D.C., stretching from near south and west of Chantilly and west of Fairfax back through Haymarket. And there's also a flash flood warning for parts of Prince William County and southwest, the southwest corner of Fairfax County, seeing an aerial flood warning. And that's for the next hour and a half or so, a couple hours, I should say. So please turn around, don't drown, don't drive into those flooded roadways down there in Prince William County. Again, we'll flare up more storms this evening. I think the worst of it probably comes through after 7, 8 o'clock for D.C. We'll keep an eye on it. Of course, we're going to stay on top of these storms, and then we'll flare up more storms again tomorrow. Yeah, more of the same. Isolated thunderstorms flaring up in the middle of the day on Saturday. So Saturday, kind of an iffy day for the joggers and runners. Sunday and Monday looks a little bit better. The storms are a little bit more isolated. It also gets hotter as we head into Sunday and Monday, Sunday being Father's Day. And summer in full effect Monday and Tuesday with highs in the low 90s across the area. And yeah, it is going to be sticky out there. Let's get back to Saturday on our Futurecast. You can see storms dying out Saturday night, but they return Sunday afternoon and evening, and we'll pop up a couple storms as well heading into Monday afternoon. Kind of a repeat pattern here for the next few days with midday and afternoon storms next few days, right on through about Wednesday before a cold front knocks us back into the 80s heading into Thursday. It does cool down slightly early next week, but that won't last. So, with that said, if you're out this evening, just kind of keep an eye on the radar. But right now, next hour or two, we are dry in D.C. Leslie?
All right, Chester, and a reminder, you can check the weather anytime and from anywhere on the free WUSA 9 mobile app. Ads?
The Don't Mute D.C. movement is making noise this Juneteenth. We're going to take you to their march coming up in just a few minutes at 5:30.
see a group of athletes protesting like this.
Yeah, Lorenzo, what made it so special is there are not a lot of cities where you have the NBA team and the WNBA team where they join together and they get along and they have such a good relationship. But that's what the Washington Wizards and the Washington Mystics have. And that's what they joined forces today. They have a march from Capital One Arena all the way to Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. And one of the things that motivated star Bradley Beal for the Wizards was his own personal experience. Listen to this.
It happened here 2 years ago. I got pulled over on 495. The officer asked me to step out of the vehicle. I'm literally on the side of the highway, my wife, me, and one of my friends, sitting the median, I don't know what it is, the median of the highway on the side, and he comes up to me and says, what if I f your Monday and put you on a headline and arrest you right now? Didn't do anything. But because I was an athlete, a black athlete driving a nice vehicle, that's what he came up with. And how am I supposed to respond to that? I'll just be waking up on Monday morning with an ESPN headline, Bradley Beal arrested because interaction with the police. But it's not, I mean, it happens. It doesn't happen to me, it doesn't just happen to our, I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And we just have to stop being ignorant to the fact that it exists.
So you heard from Bradley Beal of that personal experience, and they were voicing a bunch of names of people who weren't lucky like Bradley Beal, who lost their life to police brutality. And one of the things is the biggest enemy for the Mystics and Wizards of what they wanted to get across was that silence is the enemy. And Natasha Cloud was one of those basketball players that said, if you're silent, then you are the enemy. So we'll see what some of the other athletes on other teams do as we see now what the Mystics and Wizards do, you guys.
Yeah, and Darren, how did they decide to march, and why did they decide to march this day? How did that come about?
Well, Lorenzo, they didn't explain why this day, but I think it kind of makes sense because today is Juneteenth. But it was Natasha Cloud and one of her teammates that thought of this idea, like, hey, let's have this march. Let's get the Wizards also involved as well. Some people think it was the Wizards and the Mystics that came up with the idea, but no, this was Natasha Cloud's own idea. And if you know Natasha Cloud, she has been a vocal leader for the DC community, for the underserved kids in this community, the school systems. She was at the Black Lives Matter protest in Philadelphia before she came here to march to the MLK Memorial. So a lot of Natasha Cloud is basically using her platform to create change.
All right, people are listening today. All right, Darren Haynes, thank you.
Senior Shout Out is sponsored by the University of the District of Columbia.
I want to give a shout out to some local seniors graduating. Before we head to break, we want to give a shout out to some local seniors graduating this year. Congratulations to Kania Arteaga Escobar. She's graduating from Great Mills High School in Maryland. And a shout out to Ruby Roan, who's graduating from Elizabeth Seton High School in Maryland. Best of luck to you both. And listen, if you want to see your senior featured on WSA 9 for a shout out, you can send in your pictures. Just head to WSA9.com/grads and you'll find everything you need right there.
communities of color to be shifted into investments and the real needs of those very communities.
Mochella, a go-go march planned for Friday, will happen in front of Ben's Chili Bowl. Virginia Ali is the longtime owner of the restaurant that survived the D.C. riots following the death of Martin Luther King Jr., essentially serving as a safe haven for protesters.
I marched with Martin Luther King in 1960s and for basic human rights, and here we are today fighting for the same thing. So I'm proud to be here to support our young people and the efforts that are being put forth today.
And we're going to do what we do, which is we're going to have some black joy, because we need that too. In the midst of liberation and fighting, we still need joy.
There's so many ideals, so much diversity, and when we all come together, it's a powerful thing in our universe.
We're the change makers and ground shakers that this world needs to build a better future. So say it with me. No justice, no peace.
And the babies know. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for the news at 5:30. I'm Leslie Foster, joined by my colleagues Adam Longo and Lorenzo Hall.
So it is Juneteenth, and people across the country and right here in D.C. are having their voices heard, and they're demanding change.
Yeah, and Juneteenth commemorates the end of slavery in the United States. That happened in 1865. Now, this year feels a little different. Our neighbors are calling for racial justice, equality, and putting an end to police brutality. This is a look at some of the demonstrations we've seen across the city in the last few hours.
So if you or someone you know are at a Juneteenth event, send us your photos and videos. We want to use them online and on the air. All you have to do is text Juneteenth to 202, and you can text the pictures as well, 202-895-5599.
All right, we want to go back to our colleague Adiane Detil. She's been live at Black Lives Matter Plaza, getting a sense of why people are there and what they're calling for and what's happening near you now.
Hey, Leslie, it was a great time just a few minutes ago. We had Sugar Bear with EU Experience Unlimited crank down 16th Street. It was absolutely incredible. Fans were going nuts for songs like "Da Butt," but he was also sending a message of unity. There was a sign on the side of the truck that said to Donald Trump, "Pay DC the $750 million that you still owe us." So there was a message of a need for action. What we're seeing behind you right in front of the White House is there was another performance happen, but look down here, my friends. This is the Starlight Dance Group from Temple Hills, Maryland, and they wanted to perform for us today. These little girls are adorable. They were performing earlier, and they created this routine specifically for Juneteenth. And so I just want to let you enjoy the vibes.
Yeah, you know, Adiana, as we've gone through this day, there's been so much to unpack, right? There has been joy, there has been celebration, there's been commemoration.
They're just getting set up for their next shot. Can you hear them?
All right,
hey,
so this
Leslie, IFB for us is not very clear, so I can't hear what you're saying. But the girls just started the next part of their performance.
Perfect, perfect. All right, Adiane, and that's just another view of what's happening today. It's been a day of interesting. It's like a stew where we put another little ingredient into the pot, and now we have this sort of beautiful assembling of humanity, calling for a number of different things, but mostly human rights and personhood. All right, I'm going to toss it back to my colleague Adam Longo.
Yeah, thanks, Les. And we're going to actually bring it back out just down the street from where Adiane is at Black Lives Matter Plaza to WSA 9 reporter Michael Quander. And Michael, I want to stick with what we just heard from Leslie just a moment ago about this potpourri of emotions from folks. It's celebratory. It's also asking for change. Can you talk about the cumulative emotions that are being expressed by all the folks down there today?
Yeah, lots of emotions. You know, we went from being at one rally earlier today, a peaceful march with a group of Masons and Eastern Stars and some Greek organizations. Very quiet, very somber moments there. We turned around and then we met up with EU and Sugar Bear and Backyard Band with the Don't Mute DC movement over there near the Howard Theater. I got to tell you, you could see people having a good time chanting Black Lives Matter. People down here. No justice, no peace right there. You've been hearing that all day long. But, you know, walking down here, you could see the mixture of emotions, right? People having a good time listening to DC's go-go music, but also protesting, calling for the different things that they want to see, right? Like equal housing, equal education, and also for into police brutality. At the end of the day, people just want to be treated fairly. That whole thing went from up there near the U Street corridor down 16th Street, and then right here in Black Lives Matter Plaza, where you have been seeing it all day. It's a mixture of like a celebration, but also protests happening out here as people commemorate the Juneteenth day, but also call for justice and for peace within the community here. So this has been the feel out here so far today. We've been talking to several people who have been showing us different reasons why they're out here. I talked to one girl earlier who told me that she was here because she really wants to see some change happen in her community and for her future generations as well. So we're going to continue to stay out here, and we're going to tell you what's going on air and online. But for now, we're reporting live in downtown DC at Black Lives Matter Plaza. Michael Quander, back to you.
Michael, thank you so much. This day will end, but of course the calls for reform and the calls for change will continue.
All right, let's get a check on your weather now. We see the ground is wet out there, but Michael had the umbrella folded away in his hand. Yep. Are we done with the rain for the evening, Chester?
Not for the entire evening, but certainly a nice little break from the rain in and around most of the DC metro, including in the city, down through Arlington and Alexandria. We do still have some light to moderate showers up towards Reston, Potomac, Great Falls, Rockville, and a little farther to the north as well. Let me see if I can scroll that radar just a little farther to the north, northern parts of Montgomery County and up over to Howard County, so only in places like that. Showers also finally dying out down towards Haymarket after a sustained thunderstorm was there for a couple hours. That's why there's a flash flood warning for the Bull Run area between Manassas and Manassas Park and Haymarket. And then the wide view saying, yeah, we do have some pop-up storms, but nothing too widespread at this moment. More storms will flare up through the evening hours, but they will be very hit or miss. Some spots will see very little rain, while others will get a quick and heavy downpour with slow-moving thunderstorms marching through D.C. So, yeah, there may be one or two in and around the metro at 7, 8 o'clock this evening, a couple more towards 9, 10 o'clock this evening. So plan on storms if you're out later this evening. I'm going to break down the complete weekend outlook in just a couple of minutes. Back to you all.
On this Juneteenth, the University of the District of Columbia is paying tribute to George Floyd. Beginning tonight, campus lights will be dimmed for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. That's how long former officer Derek Chauvin had his knee pressed down on Floyd's neck. The lights will be dimmed over the next 8 nights, and the school president will be on hand tonight to take a knee. UDC also announced it will launch the Institute for the Study and Elimination of White Supremacy in America.
D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser made national headlines after unveiling the 16th Street Black Lives Matter mural. It's gotten a lot of buzz, but we're going to verify here, was it the first of its kind? So our researchers used photos from the Associated Press and city governments to create a timeline. And yes, photos of D.C.'s mural were the first ones posted on the internet on June 5th. Now, within the past 2 weeks, there's been some impressive replicas in cities like Charlotte, North Carolina, Seattle, Washington, also in New York City, Austin, Texas, St. Petersburg, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, just to name a few. Got something that you want our Verify researchers to look into? Just email the team, verify@WUSA9.com.
Still ahead, we need to talk about reopening now. Phase 2 officially begins on Monday in D.C. We'll explain what the new chapter will look like. Les?
And right now, the next chapter for this day is a big gathering as the evening continues to move forward in Black Lives Matter Plaza. We've got our colleagues all over downtown D.C. covering every aspect of this, and we'll be back after the break.
people accountable. And I'm like, you can't have it both ways. I don't need you to hope. We don't need just your prayers. We do need you to hold people accountable. And that's what you've said you're going to do. And we're going to hold you to that. You know, I'm sitting here thinking, Leslie, we've gone through slavery. And then after slavery, made incredible strides. I mean, come on, think about it. People are on a plantation. They're told one day you're free. Now, you've got nothing to take with you. As a matter of fact, government's going to compensate the slave owners for having to give you up, okay? Taking away their income. So the slaves are let free to make ends meet, to raise their families, to do the best they can. And you know what? For the most part, they did. But then you slap us with Jim Crow. You took back all those gains with something else, okay? And now we've got this, whatever we can call it. Of course, we've made incredible gains. We've had the athletes out there. They're all multimillionaires. We're singers. We're entertainers. We're anchors. Got all that, absolutely. And a lot of us have done very, very well. But the numbers do not lie. You've held us back. You've held our family members back. The criminal justice system is still doing us wrong. My point being, let's not hope. You know, as Martin Luther King said, we can't hope. We can't expect somebody else to do this for us. You say you're going to be out there, stay out there and take the protest to politics. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. I'm just telling you, you know, you gave us your word, live up to your word. And we'll be there to cover it. This is very exciting. It's incredibly exciting to see these young people and this new leadership. I was just reminded by one of my young frat brothers, Josh Lopez, that you know, leadership, you know, with Martin Luther King and SNCC and the others, those are all young people, 20, 30 something. And that's who we got out here now. This is our new leadership. I'm excited about it because we know what us old people have done and what we haven't done. It's time for them to take over.
You know, I
just hope we can get out of their way and let them do their thing.
Bruce, I was talking to a professor, Justin Hansford, who is the founder and executive director of the Thurgood Marshall Civil Rights Center at Howard University. And he said that these protests are different because these protesters have heard politicians say they're going to adopt their policies and they haven't done it. So these protesters are saying, no, we're not going to actually leave. We are going to stay. We are going to hold you accountable. We are going to ensure that you elect people that we want with an agenda that we're calling for. And so this could be, as we've said in generations past, a long, hot summer.
And I will just add to that, and once they elect people, you've got the list. Okay, this is what you promised you'd do. And if they don't do it, throw them out. Elect somebody else. And you know, one of the things we did when we were young and first started voting, we would go and we'd vote a slate of candidates. Ron Dellums actually said this to me, the former California congressman. He says, black people would go to the polls, elect their own to office, go home, sit on their hand and say, God, hope he does a good job. Other people who are quite familiar and understand the process, no, that's not how it works. You go vote. Here's the deal. This is what you say you're going to do. And if you don't do it, you vote them out. Get somebody else. Okay?
Well, Bruce, you know, I just spoke his name, and we actually have Justin Hansford on the phone. Justin, are you there?
Yes, I'm on right now.
Thanks so much for your time. So when we talked about this new activism, right, where you engage the head, the hands, and the hearts. And we've seen the hearts, right? We've seen this connection with community. We've seen this mobilization. We've seen advocacy. And we've seen the head involved with the scholarship here. But what we've been talking about is how you ensure that the message, this movement, doesn't just end with the calls for change, that there has to be accountability. How will the protesters out there now do that? How will they make this demonstration different?
One of the beautiful things about this protest, which is happening now, is that the protesters were brilliant enough to make their message the slogan. In the past, when the message was Black Lives Matter, people could easily say, well, you don't have a plan, you don't have a proposal. What policy can follow the protest? But now, since you have a defund the police message, the policy is in the slogan itself. And we have seen protesters go to the D.C. City Council meetings. There's going to be discussions happening later on next week in PG County and Montgomery County around ways that the defund message can be operationalized on the policy level by allies on the city councils and the mayor's offices around the country, and eventually, hopefully, even on the national level and the state level. So I think that was one of the more brilliant things that have happened in terms of actually making sure the rubber hits the road this time around when it comes to reform.
Let's talk about defund the police, because there are some people who don't quite understand what the call means, right? Are we saying that you defund the police and you completely get rid of them at all? Or are you doing, say, what Camden, New Jersey did, where they literally started from the ground up? They defunded it, started over, made the police officers reapply for their jobs, gave them new training, and then decided that if there was an issue with mental health, you would send someone who has that ability. If there was someone who had an addiction, you would send someone to get them help. If there was someone who was homeless, you would find housing for them and reframe what community policing looks like. Help people understand what demonstrators are saying when they say defund the police.
Well, the message is that people need to reimagine what public safety means in our community. For example, we know that we live in a country, in a region, where we apparently don't have enough money for ventilators for everybody if they should become infected with COVID. But we do have enough money for tanks and tear gas and other weapons that are used against us that don't actually keep us safe but harm us. So if we're going to try to increase public safety, why don't we reinvest some of that money into things that actually would keep us safe? And as you mentioned, other types of problems in society, whether it's homelessness, mental health issues, there are a number of problems in society where we could and we should find better ways to keep ourselves and our communities safe than as opposed to policing and using the criminal justice system as the answer. I have gone on record saying that I have problems with the term community policing, because that seems to suggest that there's another strategy or technique to policing that would solve the problem, when what the defund the police protesters are arguing is that you need to use other people besides the police to address mental health issues, besides the police for homelessness issues. That's not something that someone with a gun needs to show up to solve.
Got it. Justin Hansford, I wish we had more time to talk. We'll make time to do it again. But again, thank you for your perspective. Justin Hansford, the founder and executive director of the Thurgood Marshall Civil Rights Center at Howard University. We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
All right, I'm Bruce Johnson. Thanks for joining us. Welcome back to our special coverage of Juneteenth. Want to go right now to the field and Darren Haynes, who's been out there with the Mystics, the Wizards. Darren, tell me what we can expect the players to do after today. What is it they're talking about doing that we're going to take notice?
Well, Bruce, I think the stage is set, or should I say the bar has now been set. Mystics, Natasha Cloud, she was calling out some of the other athletes, not just here in DC, but just all around the country, to use their platform for change. If you look at it, as far as in the WNBA, there are sports that have a bigger audience, but yet Natasha Cloud uses hers to create change. Imagine if all the NBA players, imagine if the NHL players get into it. What if MLS decided to do something to create a change and use that platform? That's what Natasha Cloud wanted to get out. Bradley Beal was also there as well, using his platform. And the thing about Bradley Beal, Bruce, he's from St. Louis, Missouri, and there's been some bad interaction between some of the residents, the black residents there, and police officers. And he didn't do anything when there was an individual who was killed in his St. Louis area. And he regrets that. And that's one big reason why he came out today, because he wanted to create change. He didn't want to just sit and maybe tweet. He wanted to physically be out there and use his voice to create change.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see once they get back to playing, whether you're talking football, basketball, whatever. I am anxious to see what happens once the national anthem is played. I want to know what the players do. I'm going to be watching what the coaches do. I'm going to be watching what goes on in the stands. I am just bowled over by all of this, including the guy who drives for NASCAR. I don't even know him. And the change that he's made over there with the Confederate flag. This is just huge.
Yes, it's huge. And this is from talking to players. They all agree this is huge. This is one of the moments where, for African Americans, for black people, that they've been trying to get up this hill. And they're at the top of the hill where now they can kind of go down and really truly be themselves. I always mention this poem by Paul Laurence Dunbar, We Wear the Mask. And this is really big during National Association of Black Journalists conferences, where black people feel like they need to put on a mask and really hide behind how they really truly feel. Over these last few weeks, as you can see, there's a big difference from 10 days ago, 12 days ago, compared to now, where now that mask is off and people can really act and truly express how they really feel. So when you look at some of these NFL athletes, they're not afraid anymore because they know that the NFL has their back. Roger Goodell, the commissioner, the guy who's the voice of the NFL, he said that we should do more listening. He regrets that they didn't do more listening. So now that you have the commissioner behind your back, basically the president of the NFL, a lot of NFL players are going to start taking a knee because they're not afraid to anymore.
Absolutely. Darren Haynes, good stuff. Yeah, Darren, good stuff. Appreciate all you've done out there today, man. Good stuff. Okay, we're going to take a break. Back in a minute.
change. Good evening. I'm Leslie Foster.
And I'm Lorenzo Hall.
And I'm Bruce Johnson, reporting from home. Juneteenth, observed every year, but this year feels a lot different. There's a renewed push for racial justice and a call to end police brutality. Today, it's all about community. Let's go to Megan River. She's live at 14th and K Streets in Northwest. Megan.
All right, we are live along 14th Street right now. We are in the middle of the Mochella rally that is happening as folks are marching down the street. So we just hear the music starting back up. We can see the signs that people have. Earlier, they were screaming the names of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, celebrating. They said that they were celebrating Juneteenth and also rallying for equality and racial justice in our nation. So they have a whole caravan of a band that's playing as well. They've been screaming the names, and there's just so many different people from all walks of life. And so we're going to talk to a couple of people who are rallying with them now. What made you come out here today?
I basically wanted to support my people, and I wanted to stand for what's right.
And how is this day going for you, celebrating Juneteenth?
It feels very, very, very proud to be out here. I feel very proud to be out here, and I'm happy that everybody got together to support every one thing.
You know, there's a lot of talk right now about people like this being the first year that people are celebrating Juneteenth. How many years have you been celebrating Juneteenth?
Every day of my life.
Every day of your life. Thank you so much. Man, why is it so important for you to be out here today?
Honestly, I feel like it's the simplest way to show support, just walking.
And we talk about, you know, George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. You guys were shouting their names. Why are you still shouting their names?
Because justice still hasn't been brought.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the walk. So, like, again, tons of people marching along 14th Street. They started at Black Lives Matter Plaza and are supposed to end at 14, and you will be marching with them along the way, and we'll bring you the latest on air and on live. Reporting live, I'm Megan Rivers. I'll send things back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Megan, thank you. We're going to go down to Tom Dempsey. He is live outside Lafayette Square. What's the mood where you are?
Well, what's interesting about where we're standing is we're actually standing in Lafayette Square, and a few weekends ago, this would have been an exact place where law enforcement were standing. Now, though, as you can see behind me, there's all sorts of signs out here, artwork, if you will, different drawings here in honor of George Floyd. We see one for Breonna Taylor. We see signs for different victims of police brutality and signs saying to cancel rent. Many of these issues, police brutality, cancel rent, affordable housing, I can't breathe. We can see that, the criminal justice standards and the police standards very much at the heart of these protests. If we want to show over here too, this is protests coming right at us right now. The White House right at my back, and these protests are coming right at us right now. This is the type of scene we're seeing during Juneteenth. I'm going to hold the microphone up so you can hear this.
George Floyd! Say her name! Breonna Taylor! Say his name! George Floyd! Say her name! Breonna Taylor! Say his name! George Floyd! Say her name! Breonna Taylor! Say his name!
Again, guys, this is Lafayette Square, as we were saying just a few weekends ago, the site of some big protests, and where we are standing right now would have been where law enforcement are, but now we can see big crowds coming towards us and walking towards the White House, holding all sorts of signs, like we said, like Black Lives Matter, and calling attention to police brutality as we're trying to see some of these other signs coming towards us. But again, this is a big gathering point for these Juneteenth gatherings today, and these meetups and these rallies and these vigils that could be happening too as well going into the night. But just interesting standing here. Sir, can I ask you a question? Where are you guys? You guys are going right outside the White House. Talk to me about this gathering right here.
Well, this is one way in which we're able to voice our demands, actually, to take this opportunity to say unapologetically that Black lives do matter. And so for me, this is one way in which I'm able to channel this energy. And I say that in terms of channeling the energy of the oppressor into righteous fuel. And so to be out here is just one way in which I've been able to really ensure that we are taking full advantage of this time in our global history. And so that's why I'm out here.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your stories. We saw the gathering passing our way, and we wanted to make sure we thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. As I said, a festive atmosphere at times with dancing and music, but also, as we said, a sort of an atmosphere of protest as well. Very much the feeling right now in Lafayette Square, guys.
And a movement that has become part of our collective lexicon, regardless of your cultural background, this embrace of the idea that Black lives matter. All right, thanks, Tom. If you are going to the protests and rallies tonight, bring an umbrella. Showers and thunderstorms are going to move in again. We'll have a second wave at some point, right, Chester?
That's right. We're expecting a few more showers and storms for later this evening. Right now, it's all quiet here across Metro DC, except for a few lingering showers over into Montgomery and down through Fairfax counties. And we also have a flash flood warning south and west of DC down into Prince William County. Picked up over 3+ inches in and around Bull Run here. And it looks like the flash flood warning has been canceled, but that flood warning for the aerial flood warning is still in force till 7:45. So we've got a couple hours here, a dry hour or two before a few more storms try to move back in later this evening. We'll keep an eye on those storms, of course, and we'll bring you your full forecast in a couple of minutes.
Chester, thanks a lot. Let's go back to the rallies in downtown D.C. right now. Very different scene from what we saw 2 weeks ago, don't you think? Mood is changing. People are listening, and they're putting words into action. Mike Valerio joins us with more on that. Mike?
Hey, Bruce. Well, good evening to you. You know, we want to pivot quickly to our new friend, Kat Paul, right here, who's joining us from Northeast. And Kat, you said that you wouldn't miss this for anything. As, you know, the protest passes us over here. Tell me what you're feeling in this moment.
Well, I think that this is a very special moment. I think this is a moment that we've all come together to recognize Juneteenth as a national holiday. It should be a national holiday, and we're still waiting on that to happen. Today is a very healing day. It's a very emotional day. We just heard this most beautiful rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing. But we're not just here for healing. We're not just here to celebrate. We're here to do the work. We're here to protest. We're here because Breonna Taylor should have been celebrating her 27th birthday. I'm turning 27 this year, and there's no reason why she should not be alive today. There's no reason why George Floyd should not be alive today. You know, that image of that officer putting his knee on George Floyd's neck is so symbolic of how America's knee has been on our necks for so long. And we're standing here outside of this statue of Andrew Jackson,
yeah.
One of the most racist presidents of all time. And as we're working on tearing down all of these statues, pulling down all of the Confederate flags, I hope this one comes down too. Andrew Jackson belongs in a museum, and that's where I hope that we're going. This momentum is amazing. It feels amazing to be here with the people that I love, and I hope that we get justice for the families who deserve it, and I hope that there's no other case like Breonna Taylor's. So we're here, we're mourning for her, we love her family, and we continue to fight on.
Kat, we want to thank you so much for your time. So Leslie and Bruce, you know, we find everybody viewing such a similar, expressing such a similar viewpoint. But for the moment, Leslie, let's go ahead and send it back to you in the studio.
Yeah, she said it eloquently. Thanks, Mike. History oftentimes comes at the peril of those who sacrifice their life and liberty for their freedoms. Juneteenth marks a time when 250,000 people in Galveston, Texas finally learned from Union soldiers that they were no longer enslaved. It is a part of American history that was fought on bloody battlefields and changed a president's views on slavery.
Juneteenth, as history documents, is a second Independence Day for 250,000 Black people in Texas who were free but didn't know it. They did know that the country was waged in war in an America that professed that all men are created equal. Brigades fighting on battlefields not far away from Washington, D.C., in Bristow, Spotsylvania, Fredericksburg, and Manassas. What these enslaved people didn't know was that one of America's bloodiest days in Sharpsburg, Maryland, would turn the tide of that Civil War and the country in the battle for their freedom. General Robert E. Lee and his Confederate troops waded through the waters of the Potomac River, confident that victory over the Union soldiers was in sight. It wasn't so. Lee lost 1/4 of his men in the battle at Antietam. In defeat, the general and his squad wearily retreated from Union soil back over the river on September 18, 1862. 2 days later, photographer Alexander Gardner captured the carnage of Antietam in ways words could never express. The horror of war pushed Lincoln to pull the order, proclaiming the freedom of enslaved people out of the drawer where he kept it for months. On September 22, 1863, 5 days after the battle at Antietam, he told his cabinet the time had come. President Lincoln's order, the Emancipation Proclamation freeing enslaved people, became official on January 1, 1863. The Civil War ended on April 9, 1865, but it would be another 2 years before the men, women, and children who were enslaved in Texas would learn that they were now really free.
Prince George's County has a new interim chief. What you need to know about the man now leading the department.
Senior Shout Out is sponsored by the University of the District of Columbia.
All right, before we go to break here, we want to give a shout out to some local seniors graduating this year. Congratulations to Brittany Hart. She's graduating from School Without Walls High School in DC. And a shout out to Kristen Carpenter, who's graduating from Prince George's Community College Academy of Health Sciences. Great pictures and best of luck to both of you. Congrats again. If you want to see your senior featured right here on WUSA 9 for a shout out, you can send your pictures. Just head on over to WUSA9.com/grads and you'll find everything you need right there. We'll be right back.
to make a statement about Black Lives Matter on this Juneteenth?
Yes, they have, Leslie. The crowd is just ahead of me up 14th. We're at 14th and R right now. I'm with Maya. She's 11 years old. And Maya, why is it so important for you and your family to be out here to celebrate Juneteenth?
So I'm trying to make history for myself and make a legacy for anybody who can be here.
Okay, Maya's 11 years old, attending her second rally. The Mochella rally is continuing. Like I said, it's just further up the street. You can still hear the drums and the band playing as well. But you know, it's been a time. We've been everywhere from the Lincoln Memorial to the MLK Memorial. Now we're marching along 14th Street with a massive crowd screaming the names of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and then also celebrating Juneteenth. They're screaming how it's Juneteenth, and they're celebrating what they call their freedom, and which is in actuality the freedom as well, because we know that. So yeah, we've been marching along with them all day, and we'll continue to march along with them, and we'll bring you more coming up later on WSA 9 at 7. So that's the latest right here from along 14th Street. I'm Megan Rivers. I'll send things back to you guys in the studio.
Megan, thanks a lot for that report. We're back in a minute. Okay, Chester, Father's Day weekend. Tell me it's going to be good.
It's going to be all right. I think Sunday's going to be mostly fine, mostly dry. If you're out this evening, you'll still be dodging storms over the next several hours, right on through about midnight tonight. And then we'll scatter in storms Saturday, midday and afternoon, and again Sunday afternoon. Not a washout, though, so if you have plans for Dad, you should be able to get outside for at least a time on Sunday. Back to you all.
Thank you, Chester.
It's WUSA 9 News at 6. I'll be back at 7 for the Q&A.
The CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell is next. We'll see you at 11.